If this is not an invitation to the third wave, then what is? You're watching COVID 360. I'm Sneha Mordani. We are continuously getting you images of sheer callousness, of stupidity, of brazen violations. And that is because we haven't forgotten these images. If India's memory is so short-lived to forget the grief of lakhs of people, then can we even call ourselves human? That is the question we all need to ask ourselves today. I'm Sneha Mordani. On the show today, we tell you simply why we cannot do this to ourselves. Our top focus. The Indian Medical Association has warned that religious gatherings should not be allowed, given the threat of COVID-19 in the view of cases surging in a handful of states in the country right now. But who is listening? Take a look.
All through the pandemic, during the highs and during the lows, our netas have permitted crowded religious rituals. From the Kumbh Mela to the crowded Ramzan rituals in Hyderabad. Crowded religious rituals have been almost as omnipresent as the coronavirus itself. But now, as India braces and preps for an expected third wave, and with religious yatras showing no signs of bowing to pandemic protocols, the Indian Medical Association has stepped in to declare that holding any festival at this time with usual traditional fervour could be very dangerous to India. The warning comes at a time when Odisha's Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra is in full swing, while the annual Kanwar Yatra processions are around the corner and awaiting official permissions.
उत्तराखंड केवल एक होस्ट के रूप में हम सभी राज्यों से बात करेंगे। अभी अधिकारी लेवल पर बातें हुई हैं। अगर उच्च स्तर पर बात करने की आवश्यकता पड़ेगी तो उसकी भी बात करेंगे और हमारे लिए सबसे पहली प्राथमिकता है कि लोगों की जान माल की रक्षा करें।
Whether permission will be formally denied to the Kanwar Yatra remains to be seen. In the meantime, all eyes are also on India's new Health Minister Mansukh Mandviya over whether his word can hold any sway at all. His predecessors' warning against crowds had had little impact on the massive religious congregations that erupted this year. One wonders if political considerations and appeasement will compel netas to go easy on temples, mosques, churches and other places of worship.
No religion or God says that you have to celebrate in an ostentatious way, that you have to visit pandals and temples and mosques to pray.
When our political parties themselves refuse to adhere to COVID norms, what faith can citizens have that crowded religious festivals will be policed effectively? Bureau Report, India Today.
There is a threat of COVID-19 and there is a problem of poor rate of vaccinations in the country. Our next story tells you about the slow pace of vaccinations in India.
With the threat of third wave staring at India, the only way to minimize the risk is to get vaccinated. India has an ambitious target to vaccinate all by December 2021. This implies all above 18 years, 106 crore people to be fully vaccinated by 2021. For this to happen, 216 crore doses must be given by December 2021. As of July 12th, India has fully vaccinated 7.30 crore people. Given the target to fully vaccinate 60% of the population by December, India will have to inoculate 87 lakh people a day. India right now is inoculating 33.7 lakh people a day on an average. To understand the overall price of vaccinations, let's look at how states are performing. Himachal Pradesh, 15.5% of population above 18 is fully vaccinated. Kerala, 15.4%. Delhi, 13.8% fully vaccinated. Gujarat, 12.8%. Uttarakhand, 12.3% fully vaccinated. While these states provide an optimistic outlook, these are states that continue to be a cause for concern. Assam has fully inoculated 5.7% of eligible population. Jharkhand, 5.2% fully vaccinated. Tamil Nadu, 5.1%. Uttar Pradesh, 3.9%. Bihar, just 3.6% fully vaccinated. The centre, in an affidavit to Supreme Court, had said that a total of 135 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccines will be available by December 2021. But the reality is, vaccinations continue to dip and states continue to report shortages in vaccines. In Delhi, vaccine shortage has forced to shut down vaccination centres. Delhi government is out of Covaxin and will pause jabs for first dose. As of July 11th, Delhi government had only 19,000 Covishield doses.
Here at Navyug School, this is one of the vaccination center, but the vaccination is not taking place at the moment. There are only few security guard and number of people visiting, and many say they have been waiting for a month, for a week, for 15 days. At different centers, they are running from pillar to post to get their first jab or the second jab done. But seems to be the crisis of vaccination supply to the national capital, a big disruption in this biggest mega drive.
Centre, however, defended India's vaccination pace.
हम 200 करोड़ तक की उपलब्धता को देख रहे हैं, तो बड़ी क्लियर कहा गया कि ये एस्टीमेट हमारे मैन्युफैक्चरर्स और कंपनीज ने हमें अपनी जिम्मेवारी से, अपनी एस्पिरेशनल तरीके से, और मैंने वर्ड यूज़ किया था ऑप्टिमिस्टिक एस्टीमेट्स, हमें सामने से साझे किया है.
Meanwhile, in the global race to vaccinate, India is still way below in the chart. India has inoculated just about 7.8% of 18-plus population. With the Delta threat looming, vaccines are the only defense against COVID. India has to speed up its vaccinations to meet its monstrous target and avoid past mistakes. With Ashutosh Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
Amidst concerns of a resurgence of cases in India and the lingering second wave, there are concerns about cases of COVID-19 multiplying throughout biomedical waste. Environment watchdogs have said mismanagement of COVID waste can actually help the virus sneak through the back door. Here's more. A powder keg of a potential third wave. The virus smouldering in heaps of medical waste undetected. Mismanagement of biomedical waste has always been a challenge in India. What's worse is that experts are now saying that given the pandemic, the problems associated with this poor management of medical waste is only now increasing. Experts are also saying that this is extremely dangerous and risky, and that this mismanagement of biomedical waste is going to be the reason behind a spike of COVID-19 cases in the country in days and weeks to come. The statistics tell the tale. According to the Central Pollution Control Board, COVID scrap accounts for 20% of India's biomedical waste during the pandemic. Environment watchdog Centre for Science and Environment says even this hefty scale of pandemic trash is heavily underreported. Its research points to the mismatch between the caseload gone up by 234% between the first and second waves, and a mere 11% increase in COVID-19 biomedical waste.
A lot of our waste is being handled by the informal sector, right? And they are never found working with proper protective equipments, which is obviously for their own safety. There have been reports of open dumping of COVID-19 waste or biomedical waste related to COVID-19. There have been instances of burning of this waste. So all these 3 pointers combined pose a very huge risk.
The sources of this waste are innumerable.
The sources of waste generation got diverse, because earlier we used to receive biomedical waste only from healthcare facility, but now it was coming from households, from quarantine centers, from makeshift treatment facilities.
According to the CSE, only around 5,000 generators shared information about COVID trash on the designated app in May this year. That's when India accounted for almost half of the world's new cases. In November last year, as many as 1 lakh disclosed waste information though. With current capacity seen as highly inadequate to handle COVID medical waste, it's high time policy makers focus their attention on the piled up trash that may become a source of virus transmission if left untreated. With Nitin Jain in New Delhi, Sneha Mordani, India Today. Cases of COVID-19 are surging in Kerala, the state that had reported the first case of COVID-19 in India. Our next report tells you why God's own country is getting no relief from the pandemic. The centre has also rushed a team here to assess the situation.
Kerala is once again facing a COVID crisis. On Saturday, the state registered 14,087 cases and 108 fatalities, the highest the country, contributing to over 30% of the active caseload in India. But CM Pinarayi Vijayan sought to allay fears amid the surge in cases.
കേരളത്തിൽ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് രോഗികളുടെ എണ്ണത്തിൽ കുറവ് വരാത്തതെന്ന് പലരും ആശങ്കപ്പെടുന്നുണ്ട്. പൊതുജനാരോഗ്യ തത്വങ്ങളനുസരിച്ച് പരിശോധിച്ചാൽ ഇതിൽ അത്ഭുതപ്പെടേണ്ടതില്ല. അമിതമായി ഭയപ്പെടേണ്ടതില്ലെന്നും കാര്യങ്ങൾ നിയന്ത്രണത്തിലാണെന്നും ആത്മവിശ്വാസത്തോടെ നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ കഴിയും.
Kerala's Health Minister Veena George also showed confidence in the state's health infrastructure.
We have always tried to keep the positive cases below the medical capacity threshold, and also we have in Kerala more number of susceptible persons, so there are high chances that more people will be getting infected these days, but we are trying our best and our preventive measures are quite we have proved that our system is quite successful.
Despite these assurances, the reality on the ground is worrisome. Malappuram, Thrissur, Kozhikode, Ernakulam, Kollam and Palakkad remain the worst affected districts in Kerala, reporting over 1,000 cases in a day. Positivity rate is over 10% in the state, which means 10 out of 100 people who are getting tested for COVID-19 are turning out to be positive, while the average positivity rate of the country is over 2%.
The population of Kerala, you cannot compare with many other states, and you can call it a mini Dharavi. The entire Kerala can be called as a mini Dharavi, and we have very high population, and also the people traveling. The mobility of the people is very high. It's across the borders, and also inside the state. Also, the mobility of the people it's very high.
Once hailed for its containment efforts of coronavirus cases, Kerala has now a new challenge on its hands as the threat of a third wave looms large.
On Saturday, Kerala reported over 14,000 fresh COVID-19 cases, the largest among all states in the country. Kerala also accounts for almost 30% of the total active case load in India. State's TPR is also a major cause of concern, which remains to be at 10.66%. Having said this, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has assured that the situation is well under control of state's medical capacity. With camera person Tinku Rajshekharan, Gopikrishnan, Thiruvananthapuram for India Today.
The newest variant of coronavirus that originated in Peru in August 2020, with its earliest documented sample in December 2020, has now spread to 31 countries. India as of now does not have cases of the Lambda variant. Well, a Lambda variant study that is yet to be peer-reviewed says the variant increases infectivity by twofold. Another study has found that Lambda variant is more infectious than the Alpha and the Gamma variants. Take a look.
As of now, we have no evidence that this has been detected in any part of our country.
Lambda has not touched Indian shores, but the sword of another COVID variant hangs over our heads. The Delta variant wreaked havoc in India, but 2 months later, all is forgotten. Can India afford to be casual just because Lambda is not an immediate threat? Here is why India needs to be cautious. The Lambda variant, or the C.37 strain, designated a variant of interest by the World Health Organization on the 14th of June, was first identified in Peru in December 2020. It carries a lot of mutations with suspected implications such as increased transmissibility or resistance to neutralizing antibodies. This COVID variant has been detected in over 30 countries. Experts say even as we assess whether the Lambda variant can be a potential threat to the global fight against COVID-19, what is needed is quicker vaccinations.
What's most concerning about this variant isn't the variant itself, but what it represents. That SARS-CoV-2 is evolving primarily because of vaccine inequity, and in multiple parts of the world where there is low vaccine coverage, we may see variants continue to emerge.
The Lambda variant is the newest and the 7th variant of interest, which means that genetic changes could further affect transmissibility and other factors affecting viral spread. It is significantly causing community-wide transmission. There is some evidence to show that the Lambda variant carries about 7 mutations in its spike proteins. It's a variant of interest. Compare this to the Delta variant, which is a variant of concern and has about 3 mutations in its spike proteins. What this means is that there is little evidence, but this is fear of the unknown. The potential threat of the Lambda variant cannot be undermined, especially because India is still recovering from the nasty second wave. India can ill afford another highly infectious variant to play havoc, which is why vaccinations and COVID-appropriate behavior become all the more important. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today. That's all in this edition of COVID 360. Until next time, stay safe, follow all COVID protocol and do get the vaccine if you have not already gotten it. Thanks for watching.